tomorrow or a week from now, whatever, and tell me that you are in fact gay, I'm going to be mad with you, and my feelings are going to be hurt. She is playing it, and I'm like, okay. So she goes her way, I go my way, and I'm bawling. I'm crying my eyes out because I feel so horrible. I have lied to my sister. My sister is like my second mother, and I lied to her about my sexuality. So I'm sitting in my room, and I'm crying, and I'm trying to debate, what am I going to do? What am I supposed to do right now? All this time I've had nobody to turn to. I've had no outlets. This is something that is so scary. It is ridiculous. And now I'm kind of have an ultimatum. It's like, either I tell her or I don't. She's gonna find out years from now, because this is not going away. It's not gonna go anywhere overnight. This is me. So I had to make a decision. Do I tell my sister or do I not tell my sister? What do I have on the line? I have to risk everything. I have to risk my sister telling my mother. I have to risk my whole family knowing. I have to risk losing my family. I have to risk the embarrassment. I have to risk, my mother potentially putting me in some type of counseling. I didn't know what to do, but at the same time, I did not want to lie to my sister, because I am an honest person, and it just hurt me to know that I would be lying to her. So what do you do? What do you do? I pondered, I prayed, I cried, I did everything. And finally, later on that night, I went into my sister's room, and I laid on her floor, and I said, can I talk to you? She said, yeah, you can talk to me. I said, do you promise I can talk to you? I don't want you to tell mommy. That was my biggest, please, just whatever you do, don't tell mommy. Can you please not tell mommy? Okay, Tay, I'm not going to tell mommy what's going on. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know what to do. And luckily, my sister was, she was in school for psychology. This happened when I was, this was my second year in college. She and I had an apartment together, and our colleges were very close, so it was just more affordable for us to have an apartment together. So we were roommates, and she was able to see a lot of my habits and things that my mother had not seen and wasn't able to see. So with my sister being in this psych major, she was very helpful. And I'm so grateful for that even today, because she helped me to become comfortable with who I am. She asked me various questions. I thought they were kind of crazy at the time, because I felt like she was using me as one of her guinea pigs in her psych class, but they were helpful. I do know that her advice to me was, after we had this long discussion, she said, okay, well, you have this dilemma. So what I suggest is for you to try both. I think you should go and have sex with a girl, and I think you should have sex with a boy. Now, at this time, I was a virgin, and although, I was doing things with my best friend / girlfriend, it wasn't anything too sexual, a couple of little, minor things. But I had not, gone all the way with her. So my sister told me, try out both of them, and whichever one you like the most is what you do. But my biggest concern was, but this is a sin. This is a sin. This is a sin. This is a sin. What am I supposed to do about that? So I'm thinking, okay. How about if I just go and be straight, and force myself to be intimate with the boyfriend / cover-up. And then I'll just think about being with the girl, because there's no harm in thinking about it, right? No, not the case. She says, well, Tay, if you think about it, it's a sin too. Jeez. Okay. So, I can't do it. If I do it, it's a sin. If I think about it, it's a sin. So I need to go and be with this dude, and then I won't be sinning, right? I couldn't force myself to do it. So I made up in my mind, well, if thinking about it is a sin, I cannot not think about it, so I'm just going to do it then, because it's going to be a sin anyway. And that's what happened. That's what happened. So from that moment on, I was a lesbian, and I was okay with it, as long as my mother didn't know. And And that's how it went. My sister knew, and I had her as an outlet. I could talk to her about different things. She would check in with me often, see how I was feeling, what was going on. You know, this was my outlet. My sister was my outlet. So my sister knew, and some very close friends of mine knew as well. The friends that were like me. I had found out that, you know, discovered that a couple of other friends were going through the same thing I was going with. So I turned to them. All of my straight feminine friends, I let them go because we no longer could relate. My feminine friends are talking about having sex with their boyfriends and girly stuff, and I just was not there. I mean, it was a complete disconnect. So I shied away from them, and I became closer to my friends that were very much like myself. The point came in my life where I came out to my entire family all at one time in 2006. And I did it because I could no longer hold it inside. I was literally killing myself from stressing over this issue and hiding it. Hiding it became harder and harder and harder. After I went to the school where I was staying with my sister, I went down to Virginia. I went to Virginia because I said, you know what? I have got to get away with this. I have got to run from this whole lesbian phase that I'm going through. I was going to school in Baltimore initially, and the gay population is a lot more prevalent there, and I couldn't handle it. So I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to make sure that I was trying everything in me to get away from this gayness, and I made the decision to go to college in Virginia. Not many people know this because I didn't want to put it out there. I didn't want people to know that I made the decision to go to school in Virginia because of my homosexuality. But I did that for myself because I needed to make sure that I wasn't following behind people, or I wasn't just doing what the fad was. I wasn't trying to be cool and be yay. That wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. But I had to make sure. I had to prove it to myself. So I said, okay, I'm going to take myself out of this element. I'm going to take myself out of this gay environment, this gay element of friends that I have surrounded myself around, and I'm going to go to Virginia where I know nobody, and I'm going to start fresh, and nobody knows that I have homosexual tendencies, and I'm going to live my life as a straight female at this small college in Virginia, and that's how I'm going to save myself from sin. Packed my stuff up, went down to Virginia, and I was going to be straight. And that lasted for maybe half of the year. I went back into being around the girly girls. I wanted to become one of them because that was going to help me to not be gay. So I became one of them. I started dressing more feminine. I got my hair braided all up in these pixie braids, and I had the earrings on, and I started talking to boys in college. And it didn't work. It didn't work. So there was this one boy, this one guy. He was very popular, very cute. All the girls loved him. I mean, they were just infatuated with him. He was a beautiful soul, beautiful person, and he and I are still very close to this day, which is why I'm smiling. I was like, okay, he's cute, but of course I didn't want to talk to him because all the other girls were sweating him. So I'm like, I'm not going to sweat him because all the other girls are sweating him. But he caught my eye, so that was a sign to me. I'm like, okay, he's catching my eye. Okay, maybe there's some hope here. Maybe I'm not gay after all. I'm good. Well, he and I became closer. We were very good friends. He played basketball. I was on the basketball team also. We had the same basketball number, so we could relate. His father was in the military or retired military. My family was in the military. I injured myself, so I had to go to the doctor. And the trainer told me to talk to him because he was military also, and he could refer me to a doctor to go to. So that's how we connected. Long story short, he and I became very close, and we had the potential to pursue an intimate moment together. And it was at that moment when I I turned him down, that I knew, I said, okay, it's official. I have turned this fine, gorgeous piece of a man down. There is truly something wrong with me. And the thing that was wrong with me was that I did not have a desire to have sex with him. Just like I lacked the desire to have sex with my boyfriend and all the other boyfriends and cover-ups that I had. It just was not there. And it was something that I could not force. So I took that as a big turning point in my life. I did not immediately start dealing with females after that experience with him. Again, nothing happened. But I just took some time for myself to figure out what it was that I was going to do and how I could handle this. And, you know, after that, I got into a relationship, a long-term relationship. I was actually in a relationship for 5 years, and that entire time I hid my sexuality again from my family. It was a lot easier this time around because I was in Virginia and I wasn't close to my mother, so she had no idea what was going on, and I needed that. I felt like at one point in my life, I felt like I would never be able to come back home to Maryland because there was no way that I could successfully hide my sexuality. So I felt like because of my sexuality, I was going to have to miss out on all of the family things because I wasn't being myself. I did not feel comfortable coming home and trying to be somebody that I wasn't. I had to filter everything. I had to filter my friends. If I brought my friends around, I had to rehearse with them things that they could say and things that they couldn't say around my mother, and things that they, you can't wear that around my mom. You can't smell like you have cologne on around my mother. It was a process. It was a routine that I followed, and I made sure that my friends followed, because you're not going to get me caught up, and you're not going to disrespect my mom because I know she doesn't accept it. So it was a whole process. I mean, this 10 years of being in the closet was massive, and what happened was it altered the person that I was. So because I was so secretive about my sexuality, I just became secretive altogether. I didn't talk in conversation because I was afraid that I would slip something out about me being gay. I didn't talk. I didn't make comments about things. I had to watch how I dressed. Anytime I was going around my mother, I would dress more feminine to her likings because I didn't want her to make comments or criticize me about the way that I dress. My mom was very into fashion. Her and my sister are the epitome of women. And I tomboy tag, I just didn't have the same type of interest or anything as them. So I was different. I was always different. And so that made me very closed because I had to be secretive. I had no choice. So finally,